Hi, I'm Grant Child, EVES National Auction Manager. I'd like to take this opportunity to just have a talk to you about what's actually happening in the marketplace with auctions at the moment. Because in recent times there's been a lot of media coverage and expert opinions on what's actually happening with the auctions. And what those people are doing is they're making a judgment call on what's actually happening at the calling of the auction. Now, what isn't being reported is what's happening behind the scenes. And those critics, they don't see what's actually happening in the background, so they don't actually have a full understanding. Now, I'm not criticising those people because they've got a job to do, but my job is to make sure that you're fully informed with how the auction process actually works. And there's lots and lots and lots of things that are going on before, during, and after the actual calling of the auction. So there's a number of critical factors that need to be taken into consideration when making these judgment calls. Now, what usually happens out there is when vendors are using a price technique or pricing by negotiation or any other method of sale, the natural tendency for anybody is to aim high in price. That's okay, because that's natural. But what actually happens there is when we aim high in price, we finish up chasing the market down. As opposed to going through the auction process where Phase 1 of the campaign surveys the market and surveys the buyers that are in the marketplace. We get information from those buyers, and that allows vendors to then set a realistic reserve to make sure that the property sells on auction day if we've got cash buyers. But if not, it allows them to price the property right when they go into the early Phase 3 activity. Now, there's a proven fact. The maximum buyer activity is always experienced in the first 3 weeks of any property coming to the market. And that doesn't matter what the method of sale is. And after that 3 weeks, the buyer activity plateaus because those buyers, they're in the marketplace, they're looking, and as the new stock comes to the market, they're straight onto it. As opposed to the auction method of sale, which actually has 2 spikes. The first one is in the same position as any other method of sale, that first 3 weeks to the market. But then we get a second one after the calling of the auction if it's not sold. And what actually happens in that second one is we pick up all the buyers that were actually there in Phase 1 of the campaign, but they haven't reacted to the marketing or to the property because they know that they can't buy at auction. So we get that second spike. And that's a critical factor to the success of the auction. So here's another fact that might just help you understand what I'm saying. In the 3-month period from the 1st of March to the 31st of May of this year, EVES Bay of Plenty had nearly double the buyer activity and sold 17% more auction properties compared to any other method of sale. Now that's actually quite staggering given the market that we've been going through over that period of time. So here's a quick overview of how the auction process actually works, because it's simply a 3-phase method of sale. And remember, buyers buy property. They don't buy the method of sale of which it's to be sold. Now, Phase 1 of the auction campaign, that's from the time that it's listed through to auction day, which is normally a 3 to 4 week period, is where all the open homes are conducted, all the salespeople are aware that the property's for sale, the property's covered at our weekly sales meeting, everybody's aware of it, and that's where your first phase of your marketing comes into play. That's when your open homes and private inspections are all conducted, and what your salesperson is doing through that phase is they're surveying the market and getting feedback from the buyers that are out there in the marketplace as to what they perceive the value of your property to be, reporting that back to you so that you can make informed, calculated decisions regarding your sale as you move forward. Now, Phase 2 is the shortest phase of the marketing campaign, and that's actually the calling of your auction. Now, if we sell on auction day, well and good. Congratulations, you're moving to the next chapter of your life. But if you don't, then we move into Phase 3. We don't leave you, we're with you all the way. So as we move into Phase 3, what that does is it allows us and you to consider all the market intelligence that's gathered in Phase 1, and we can put it to good use in Phase 3 of the campaign. And we keep searching for your buyers, whether it be cash, whether it be conditional. Now, it's also critical that you take into consideration there's only 3 reasons that a property won't sell at auction. Now the first one is that if we've had a cash buyer on the property, we've had bidding on the property, and we haven't reached agreement between you and the buyers on value. The second one is that the buyers that we've identified your property might not be what we call A buyers. And those are the ones that are in a position to be able to bid and buy on that cash unconditional basis on auction day. And we call those conditional buyers. And the third reason is that the buyer for your property is actually not in the marketplace at the time that we go through phase one. And there's nothing you can do about that, but we will stick with you and go all the way to help you as much as we possibly can. So my advice, folks, is don't judge the success of an auction campaign on what actually happens on auction day, because it's misleading. And that's where all these critics are making those judgment calls. What you've got to do is look at the big picture. Phase one, phase two, phase three. Hope this is helpful, and we look forward to helping you in the future.